Good morning, College Prep English students. I'm doing this video on behalf of all the College Prep English teachers. I'm Mrs. Schoenwise. So as you are starting your poetry unit, we wanted to first go over all of the poetic devices that you might see as you're reading different poems, and then when you're analyzing poems and possibly writing your own for a poetry cafe. So I'm going to go over this list with you. But first, I thought I'd take you down memory lane to flow vocabulary, which you probably had in middle school. This is a pretty good refresher for you.
Meet Will, a youngin' with an old soul, an MC who wants to be the next to blow. Imagine he's in a dark room in Manhattan, scrapping, scribbling on napkins, trying to make a living on rapping, but skills he lacked them. Nobody thought that it would happen until one day Will switches his style, gets deep in his wordplay, gets witty and wild. He used to sound so embarrassing. Now people the metaphors and comparisons. His life is a highway, but he confessed he has a plan but needs a GPS. He's using references and illusions. A lyrical Houdini, creating illusions. Dolphins in 72, he won't lose. Up by the first alarm, he's not snoozing. You'll be amazed by every phrase. He will come correct with the wordplay. Literal lines that block his way. He will come correct with the wordplay. You'll be amazed by every phrase.
You will come correct with the wordplay.
Literal lines that block his way. He will come correct with the wordplay. Comparing with like or as, he's dropping similes, taking little steps like a centipede. He's sharp like a laser, sharp as a razor. In a night as dark as Darth Vader, Duke and Juke and adjust his position, contrasting two things in juxtaposition. From weak to made, cheap to paid, a creep to a dude who leads the way, using personification. What's he doing? Making objects and animals seem human. The moon smiles as the city breathes. He can feel the heartbeat of the city streets. A live show, you really ought to see it. Will drop some onomatopoeia, words that sound like what they describe. Now the crowd's buzzing, it's alive. You'll be amazed by every phrase.
You will
come correct with the wordplay. Literal lines that block his way. He will come correct with the wordplay. You'll be amazed by every phrase. He will come correct with the wordplay. Literal lines that block his way. He will come correct with the wordplay. Will he exaggerate? Use hyperbole? He's the best ever at it, so certainly with assonance, vowel sounds he's repeating. He seems the least beat in any season. His fans are legion. All the boneheads who bring beef leave with lots of lyrical lesions. That's alliteration. Same sound sentence. It's common sense. He's calm with the confidence. Using irony, opposite meaning. His lines hit as soft as iron. Believe him. Good with the puns and the wordplay. Oh my, going deep in double meanings like they were a coal mine. Will skills are sick like ER. You heard of this? Get hit and you'll see stars like Copernicus. If you only have one chance to shine, you better get up, get out, and go wild.
So that's flow vocabulary, a little refresher for you. And now I'm going to go over the list with you. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Okay, so as you can see in this list, they're highlighted in blue. So if you click on the different links, there are examples of each thing. Some of these you've already learned before. Alliteration, if you remember, is consonant sound. So if you were to click on the link, see the link gives you a definition of what alliteration is. And then if you scroll down, it gives you some examples like Dunkin' Donuts, PayPal, Best Buy, Coca-Cola. Even names have alliteration. Some of your names might be alliterated. Marilyn Monroe, Fred Flintstone, Donald Duck, SpongeBob SquarePants, all examples of alliteration. So it's like two or more words that begin with the same consonant. That's it. Those are the words that are not vowels. All right, let's move on. Okay, allusions you've had a lot. You saw a lot of them in The Great Gatsby, like when they referred to the Trimalchio and all the terms in the Roaring 20s and 1920s. So those are all examples of allusions. If you click the link, it gives you some famous ones. Okay, apostrophe I don't think you've had before. So an apostrophe is a figure of speech when you address an inanimate object, an idea, or an absent person. So like if you wrote a letter to sleep, like you want sleep so badly. Oh, sleep, I love you so much. I need you. I need you. So there's a cute apostrophe poem here that you can look up. It's called The Breakup Song. And it tells you about fear. Okay, so again, if you click the link, here's this breakup song, and the apostrophe is to fear, not to be confused with an apostrophe that's like in a contraction. This is a poetic term, apostrophe. So here's the breakup song. Sick and tired of being sick and tired, had as much of you as I can take. I'm so done, so over being afraid. I've gone through the motions, I've been back and forth. I know what you're thinking, you've heard this before. I don't know how to say it, so I'm gonna say it. Yeah, fear, you don't own me. We figured this was a good apostrophe during this time because we can't let the fear of this pandemic get to us, can we? So this is an apostrophe to fear. And again, the poetic term, don't confuse it with an apostrophe S. All right, let's get back to the list. Okay, the next term you may not know is assonance. Assonance is a repetition of similar vowel sounds. So again, these are not consonants, they're vowels. A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y. So if you click this link, it gives you some examples of assonance. Assonance terms in hip hop. I like this one. I don't know if I can say it right. I bomb atomically. Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses can't define how I be dropping these mockeries. So yeah, assonance is really good in hip hop or any type of poetry. And you can see that the focus is on the O. Okay, we're focusing on the O, and that's one of the vowels. And then there's some more examples. If you scroll down, look, there's Beyonce. She uses assonance in her songs. Okay. Shakespeare, if you remember when Romeo thinks Juliet's dead, and he's saying, Death's pale flag has not conquered thee yet. It is crimson in thy lips and in thy cheeks, and he doesn't know she's still alive, and you want to smack him. All right, here's another one. On a proud round cloud and white high night. So, okay, there's two examples there. We've got the OU sound going on, and then you have the I, the long I sound. And then Edgar Allan Poe, you had this one, I think, on a CSA. The silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain, and the focus is on the U. Focus is on the U. Okay, so that's assonance. Assonance. Okay, another good tool that's used by all kinds of writers of poetry, songs, is consonants. This is a little different than alliteration. Alliteration, the consonant is at the beginning. With consonants, it's more at the middle or the end of the line. So I'm going to click on some examples to show you some consonants. Consonants, it's a pleasing sound caused by the repetition of consonant sounds, letters that are not vowels. They are not A, E, I, O, U, or Y. Okay, so here's some examples. Blank and think, and again, they appear more at the end or the middle. So the NK sound, they're both consonants. Spelled and scald. Okay, we've got the D sound, the hard D. There's also alliteration here with the S, but it's mainly consonants. Sent and went, the NT. Dawn goes down, that's from Dawn Goes Down Today. Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. So, and then this list goes on, and you can click on this if you're looking for examples, or you're not sure if something is consonants or not. It's a little confusing. Remember, assonance is vowels, consonants is consonants, not vowels. That's how you tell the difference. Okay, I realized I skipped over connotation. That's just when writers use specific word choice. Like in The Great Gatsby, he used the word Holocaust when he talked about the deaths of Gatsby and the Wilsons. He could have used the word slaughter or murder, but he didn't. So again, poets pick very particular words for their poems because they want a certain rhyme, or they want you to know a certain meaning and have a certain understanding. All right, hyperbole you saw in the video, that's exaggeration. Imagery, I think we've gone over a lot. There was a ton of it in The Great Gatsby. Metaphors, we've also had a lot, but if you click this link, it will give you some examples and explain the difference between extended metaphor and metaphor. I think I have time to do that. So let's look at this link. Okay, so here it gives you the definition of metaphors, and then it tells you In one short line, you can tell a graphic story free of bland prose. But if it's extended, extended metaphors take on a whole new level of charm. These are metaphors that are mentioned once in the body of a text and then referenced again and again and again later on. So throughout a poem, they use the same metaphor. Like if you're comparing your life to a road and then you talk about the stops on the road, that's an extended metaphor going throughout a poem when we do, like Frost's The Road Not Taken. All right, so that's extended metaphor. Let's get through the rest of this list. Okay, onomatopoeia, I know you've had before. That was also in the video in the beginning. Oxymoron, you may not have had before. It's kind of like when you say jumbo shrimp. How can shrimp be big and little at the same time? And again, if you click the link, there are quite a few examples. Let me click the link to show you. Okay, so here are some examples, like an open secret. How can something be secret now at the open at the same time? But that could be true. Like a lot of people know it, so that's why it's called an open secret. Seriously funny. Awfully pretty. How can somebody look awful and be pretty at the same time? Yet these are things we say. Here are some in speeches. Okay, absolutely unsure. Okay, how can you be absolute? And then here are some examples in literature. Oh, loving hate. How can you love and hate somebody at the same time? So there's a bunch here. If you're confused, you can click on this and look. And here's one from when you read as freshman, Romeo and Juliet. She calls him a beautiful tyrant, fiend, angelical. How can someone be a fiend and angelical? Dove-feathered raven, wolfish, ravening lamb. Damned saint, honorable villain. So those are all oxymorons. They're opposites that appear next to each other in poetry. Okay, personification you had in the video too. That's giving human things, human concepts to something non-human, like Father Time. Father Time's becoming a father, Mother Nature. So if you click this link, you'll see some more examples. Repetition you've heard of, you've had before. We've done plenty of similes this year. Okay, slant rhyme. Let's go over that one. So slant rhymes, you could say they're almost rhymes. So if you look at the difference, cat and sat actually rhyme, but cat and sad do not. That would be a slant rhyme when they appear at the end of the lines. And writers do this because they couldn't quite find a perfect rhyme. Or maybe it has something to do with their tone. Sometimes writers use slant rhymes for tone. So here's an example. Hope is a thing with feathers. It perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Okay, all and soul don't really rhyme, but that's kind of the slant rhyme she's going for because they both end in L. Here's another one. Last and taste. That's a slant rhyme. They both have the AST, but they're not meant, they don't rhyme normally, but in this case, it's poetry. It's called a slant rhyme. Okay, so look for those in some of the poems you might see. Okay, stanza. You should know what this is, but we just want to emphasize this to you. We poets do not use paragraphs. They use stanzas. And they're not paragraphs because a stanza or a unit of poetry could have one period at the end of the whole stanza. It might not have a period at all. So it doesn't necessarily follow the conventional punctuation that you would see in paragraphs. So that's why they're called stanzas. So stanzas are the group of lines that form a unit of a poem, and then there'll be a space, and then you'll have another stanza. So if you click on this link, it tells you all about different types of stanzas. Okay, so we don't expect you to know these different types of stanzas, but you should maybe know that when there's just two lines together, that's called a couplet, because it's like a little couple. And quatrains, those are lines of 4. That's the most common type used in a stanza. Okay, symbols you had when we were discussing Gatsby, so you should know symbols by now. And theme we've been talking about all year as well as tone, but the whole object of what we're doing with poetry is to understand theme. So good luck with this sheet. We're looking forward to analyzing poetry with you. Bye-bye.